I watched the evolution of both these guys. This didn't happen overnight. In 2022, before he owned Twitter, Elon tweeted this chart depicting how he felt about the liberal side having shifted so much that it left a basically liberal centrist like him now labeled a conservative. I related. I related to the kind of mean girl shit you get from the cool kids in Wokeville when you're perceived that way. They tried real hard to cancel Rogan a few years ago. And when Elon hosted Saturday Night Live in 2021, well before he was a Trumper, some of the cast members gave him the cold shoulder for the sin of being rich. If you want to win my vote, don't give me the ick. You know what the ick is, right? It's a term mostly used in the dating world to describe that moment when one of the people, usually the man, does something so icky that the woman cannot forgive it or forget it. Like sending a dick pic or being mean to the waitress, paying for dinner with a coupon, getting his mother to call you when you dump him, asking for sex in baby voice. Once you give her the ick, it's a wrap.
Bill Maher did not walk away from the left. He got shoved out the door and handed a participation trophy on his way out for years. He was their late-night prophet, calling out Republicans, cheering for Democrats, and playing the smug referee in America's culture wars. But somewhere along the line, the party he defended turned into something he could not recognize anymore. It was not about helping the working class or protecting civil rights. It became a contest in victimhood, purity tests, and cancel rituals. And Maher, the guy who once roasted Bush with glee, started turning that same fire on the woke elite.
Dilemma for Democrats. Their young people, their key constituency, not only don't like their own civilization, they like the wrong one. They actually think Hamas is a liberation movement. They chant for the Houthis. They're chanting, "We will honor our martyrs" at Yale. They're looking for love in all the wrong countries. Someone needs to tell the kids that America is not the society where women basically have no rights, where there's zero freedom of religion and where dissent is punishable by death. Our democracy may be on life support, but we still have elections. They don't.
You could see the shift happening in real time. Each monologue got a little sharper, each rant about cancel culture a little louder. Suddenly, Maher was not clapping for the mob. He was questioning it. He started asking uncomfortable questions like, why is comedy being policed by bloggers? Why do liberals cheer censorship when they used to fight it? And how did science become political theater? His audience squirmed, some cheered, others groaned, but Maher leaned in because he knew something was off. The people who used to preach tolerance were now allergic to disagreement.
This year, when an Irish rap group projected onto screens, Israel, free Palestine, got big applause. Globalize the Intifada is the catchphrase that's really catching on these days, as if worldwide suicide bombing and cosplaying Islamic revolutionaries is the answer to our problems. At an AOC Bernie Sanders rally in Idaho last month, someone threw a Palestinian flag over an American flag, and the crowd erupted in approval. What should have happened after that is one of the adults on stage should have told their young, loyal followers, this is not a symbol of freedom. This is.
And then it happened. He started going after the golden calves of the new left race, gender, climate vaccines. Nothing was sacred anymore. Maher took a torch to it all. He was not denying science, he was demanding logic. He was not mocking identity. He was calling out the hypocrisy. He did not care if Twitter melted. He had seen the machine up close and realized it. It was not running on truth, it was fueled by outrage and conformity. So he flipped the script, the same guy who once mocked a conservative. Fear-mongering was now mocking liberal fragility.
And the Democratic Party keep encouraging and not rebuking the idea that America is cringe and the people who run Gaza are great. The Democrats are doomed. Alyssa Slotkin's right. Liberals are weak and woke, especially the white ones, and they indulge all sorts of nonsense from their kids, a pattern that then continues on in the Democratic Party. Last election, it was all the gender stuff, the insistence that men can have babies and such, and now I fear that we like the terrorists is the new that. Liberals need to push back on the dumb ideas that come from their children.
But here's the twist. Maher did not become a Republican. He did not trade in his weed stash for a MAGA hat. He stayed where he was, but the ground beneath him shifted. So far left it made him look like a libertarian. He still supports gay rights, environmental protection, and universal health care, but now he gets booed for saying men can't get pregnant, or that maybe we should not erase Thomas Jefferson from history. It is not that Maher changed, it is that the definition of progressive got hijacked by people who think feelings are facts and dissent is violence.
To strategize. Democrats have been having a lot of donor retreats lately where liberal strategists hold ideathons, where they try to figure out why they keep losing elections. You know, apart from using words like ideathon. And now one idea that's getting a lot of attention is the Dems need to find their Joe Rogan, a liberal Joe Rogan, because that's why Kamala lost. Republicans have a podcast.
He started inviting guests that made the left furious. Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Elon Musk. Maher wanted the debate, not the echo he missed. The old liberals, the ones who smoked a joint, quoted Voltaire and believed in open dialogue. Now he was surrounded by activists with speech codes and hashtags who think conversation is oppression and nuance is weakness. So he fought back with the only weapon. He had left comedy, not the safe kind, the dangerous kind, the kind that leaves both sides wincing, but laughing anyway.
I think his mind is completely inflexible. His neck, yes. But not his mind. And he's expressed unease with some things Trump is doing, as has a certain disgruntled former employee named Elon Musk, who, like Joe, is another guy who 5 years ago was thought of as a liberal, but got driven into the other camp by bad attitudes and bad ideas. A reversal I completely understand, although I would never emulate. I also see the woke mind virus. I just don't jump from frying pans into fires. The evolution of both these guys, this didn't happen overnight. In 2022, before he owned Twitter, Elon tweeted this chart depicting how he felt about the liberal side having shifted so much that it left a basically liberal centrist like him now labeled a conservative. I related. I related to the kind of mean girl you get from the cool kids in Wokeville when you're perceived that way. They tried real hard to cancel Rogan a few years ago. And when Elon hosted Saturday Night Live in 2021, well before he was a Trumper, some of the cast members gave him the cold shoulder for the sin of being rich.
And the backlash came hard. The left-wing blogs called him a sellout, a bigot. Has been the same crowd that once praised him for his bravery. Now wanted him canceled, but Maher did not flinch. He had been canceled before, remember, politically incorrect. He lost that show for defending free speech after 9/11. This was not new. He had scars and receipts, and this time he had a bigger platform, so he kept swinging because someone had to say it. The left was not liberal anymore. It was puritanical, paranoid, and obsessed with control.
My vote, don't give me the ick. You know what the ick is, right? It's a term mostly used in the dating world to describe that moment when one of the people, usually the man, does something so icky that the woman cannot forgive it or forget it. Like sending a dick pic or being mean to the waitress, paying for dinner with a coupon, getting his mother to call you when you dump him, asking for sex in baby voice. Once you give her the ick, it's...
So now Maher stands in this strange middle space. Too real for the woke, too raw for the right. He is not trying to save a party. He is trying to save a principle that comedy should be fearless, that debate should be messy, that adults should be able to disagree without screaming traitor, and maybe that makes him a relic, maybe. Makes him a prophet. But it definitely makes him the most interesting man on television, because while others play, safe Maher is still throwing punches and daring the audience to think.
Bobby Kennedy, scion of the most storied dynasty in Democratic Party history, dropped out of the presidential race and threw his support not to the Democrat, but to Trump. And everyone all at once said the same thing. Bobby Kennedy did something weird?
In the end, this is not about Bill Maher becoming a hero or a villain. It is about what happens when the center collapses and the fringes take over. It is about a comedian who saw his tribe lose its mind and decided to say something before it was too late. He is not perfect. He is not always right, but he is honest. And in a world full of fake virtue and forced silence, that is revolutionary.